If you find our content helpful, please don't hesitate to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share it with your friends.
For you, I gave up 1-1 and let go of my good reputation, but it seems you never knew.
Fate was set, and there was no way to change it. When I opened my eyes, I am reborn, back at that spring night dance in the crisp breeze. Through my thin skirt, I sat by the stone steps, rubbing my aching ankle in utter embarrassment. Just like before, as the lead dancer, I was the one most likely to be noticed by the Emperor. Jealous, amidst the shoving crowd and crossing gazes, someone tripped me. But this time, it wasn't for show. I struggled up, and Aunt Chang pushed aside the dancers. She hurried to help me up and asked concernedly, "Yi, can you still go up there?" I lifted my head slightly and just shook it very slowly and weakly twice, feeling a bit disappointed. In my heart, I knew that if I missed tonight, I would never again see the dancer named Fang, or the emperor of the entire Qing dynasty. I might never see them again. In the side room, I changed my dress and passed my hairpieces to the new lead dancer. My aunt unbound my hair and sighed at my reflection in the mirror.
Why did something like this have to happen? You were supposed to.
The banquet was filled with officials and nobles. I could have used this chance to escape the sword's curse, as before. Back then, I was determined not to let my attackers win. I endured the pain to dance half the set. Crowds cheered, yet only Xi Wangji saw my bruised ankles and tearful smile. When I finally collapsed, the Emperor dropped his wine and rushed over in a panic. He left the stage to embrace me. Despite the Emperor's presence, I remained formal and escaped all punishment. Xie Wangji, you are special. Your name defines my lifelong spirit. In over a decade of memories, aside from being taken at 5 due to poverty, I lived quite comfortably in the entertainment house. Born into high status, I quickly won the Emperor's favor. This left me naive to the world's dangers. As the favored noble consort Jin Feng, I saw someone kneeling in the rain. My maid Qing Xing said it was Yu Suiwan, the minister's daughter, and Xi Wangji's former love. The noble consort's decree was hers. I watched her through the window. In a white dress, hair loose, she knelt proudly, only begging for Xi Wangji. Withdraw the decree.
Shen Yi and me are of humble birth, unfit for this role.
But I am worthy. Back then His Majesty said,
You are the one I favor.
She stared at his face, pausing tightly for a moment.
I will find you a good husband again. Don't ever mention such nonsense again.
She seemed very heartbroken, her whole body trembling, biting her lips so hard they disappeared. Hong Yun didn't let the tears in her eyes fall either. Stepping outside into the cold, rainy wind, Xi Wang tilted an umbrella over me and gripped my hand tightly to warm it. Yu Suiwan slowly met my gaze.
Relying on beauty to charm others and then being abandoned when old is not because the noble consort holds a grudge against you. This is my advice to you.
I just gave a haughty laugh. That was truly a moment of glory. Uneducated then, I didn't know better. I thought I'd dance forever. The palace had fine food, and my looks held. Even older, I'd rival those haughty ladies. For years, Xi Wangji favored only me. He spoke of his family while I danced or ground ink as he read. He even swore,
Once you are pregnant with the imperial heir, I will silence all the officials and make you empress.
At first he did give his true feelings, but later everything changed, though it was by no means sudden. Just like Yu Suiwan used to say, beauty fades easily. Did Xi Wangji see through what kind of person I really am? He would worry about court affairs, and I heard that in the past, Yu Suiwan was extremely talented, and could always help him come up with ideas and solve his troubles. But as for me, I couldn't even get a word in. I can't even read big characters. There are several things he never says out loud, but deep down he feels truly disappointed, like how I end up causing her trouble, making her argue with the old ministers every day, making the Empress Dowager unhappy, and always acting spoiled with her at the wrong times, forcing her to put aside her pride to comfort me. I even thought we were just like an ordinary loving couple. One day, Xi Wangji forgot that I was sleeping in the side hall and casually chatted with the ministers about,
Lady, pretty good, but all she has is a pretty face. Her mind is just too dull.
She sighed, and the ministers, sensing her mood, quickly moved on to someone else.
I heard that Lord Yu's youngest daughter is a lot like her older sister, smart and clever.
Xi Wangji was stunned for a moment, then forced a bitter smile and shook his head.
Enough. If you say something offhand and the noble consort hears it, I'll have to spend ages coaxing her again.
She doesn't know. I've already heard it, and all because of that careless remark. Hiding in a side hall, I wept. I quit dancing to study reading. That year, as officials' wives paid New Year's respects, I dared to speak. Suddenly, silence fell, broken by stifled laughs from somewhere. I realized I'd used the wrong words, babbling and making everyone snicker. Fortunately, Ji Wensheng comforted me, then laughed self-deprecatingly.
When I was young, I never expected that the woman I would become would turn out to be so foolish.
That's right. Her childhood friend was high-born and gifted, while I was just a pretty shallow face. Everything changed when news of Yu Suiwan's death arrived. Her father disgraced and exiled her. She married poorly, and her death would normally never reach the emperor. But Xie Wangji found out while the palace prepared for my birthday. She flew into a rage and tore it down. My newly hung lantern slammed against the wall, cold and broken. She sneered in disdain.
Shen Yi, do you know what the censors are saying? They say you're too extravagant and that I'm senile. There's a birthday every year, so why must we make such a big fuss? Are they trying to make things difficult for me?
Seeing that tattered lantern, I knew my humble background would only burden him his whole life. Imperial matters are state affairs, not private ones. I spent days hand-making this lantern, so it isn't wasteful. I rolled up my sleeves, revealing hands that had been cut by bamboo strips.
I built this lantern to avoid giving anyone leverage.
Xie Wangxi paused guiltily, then hugged me.
I'm sorry. I really completely lost my cool at work today.
A tear fell from him onto the back of my neck, burning slightly. It was only much later that I understood. That tear was for Yu Suiwan, his perfect match. In my 10th year of favor, with my 2 adorable children softening the Empress Dowager, Xie Wangxi finally named an empress as the ministers requested. That woman was Yu Suiwan's full-blooded younger sister. Young yet mature, she ran the palace with everyone's respect. Only the empress loathed me, blaming me for Qingji's death. Truly, His Majesty never loved her. He rarely visited her, yet still entrusted my child to her care. That night when I served in bed, it was the first time I humbled myself to beg her. She avoided my gaze, only gripping my hand tightly and lowering her head to kiss my fingertips.
It is still better for the 2 children to be raised by the Empress.
Holding back tears, I realized that despite years of effort, the king never respected me. As their birth mother, I'm still unworthy of being a princess or the mother of princes. Year-end, heavy snow hit half the country for a month, and uprisings erupted. Lords rebelled. His Majesty issued a self-reproaching edict and held a ritual. While he was overwhelmed, the Empress secretly summoned me to conduct a full inventory. My crime: 1 year. The Emperor planned to move the capital to Jinling. Ministers objected, blaming my love for fish and calling me a wicked consort. When I didn't conceive, His Majesty refused new concubines. A loyal minister nearly died protesting it. Actually, none of it was my fault. It's just that sometimes, well, when faced with so many difficulties, His Majesty would also regret it, and he would often bring it up.
Giving up Wanwan and losing his life for you, it really doesn't seem worth it.
I listened, half drunk, my cheeks stung by the northern wind, cold and painful, and my expression gradually changed. The Empress secretly ordered someone to force me to drink poisoned wine, speaking lightly about it, saying that to appease public anger, the imperial consort had to pay with her life. When I was dying, I struggled to see His Majesty one last time. He held me in his arms. My body gradually went limp, my head buried in his neck, his throat choked with sobs, almost unable to make a sound.
I poisoned you for 10 years. Even your brother got promoted because of it. I believe I have a clear conscience. Just don't marry in your next life.
A few tears blurred my vision. In my final moments, the yellowish candlelight before me seemed to blur and grow larger like the moon, then became clear again. My fingers touched the smooth bronze mirror. Red lips, white teeth, arched brows and eyes. This was my 16-year-old self, in this lifetime. Me, facing the old maid's shock and heartbreak, I said in a weak voice, "Someone pushed me on purpose. But perhaps, this is actually a good thing." By the time I walked back to the music house, the sky was already completely dark. I walked very slowly, listening from the back as everyone chatted about gossip. After the banquet ended, His Majesty issued an imperial edict that had never seen the light of day in my previous life. Feng Yu would at the very least become a noble consort and hold the Phoenix seal. Everyone thought that once she became pregnant, she would definitely become empress. I nearly reached that position in my past life, but failed. Tonight, the Emperor pardoned a dancer and granted her marriage. They discussed my absence with sympathy and ridicule. I listened quietly, feeling nothing. Missing this chance is fine. Others will come. Previously, Qing Gei and General Sui returned for me after years apart. I asked Ji to take me home. Now, I only need to wait 3 months. The Emperor is kind. He has never met me and has no reason to refuse. My leg's still healing, so I used the chance to rest. Since the new Emperor's coronation, I've avoided all the banquets. During this time, new candidates arrived for selection. Unlike before, the Emperor isn't lustful. He's busy with state affairs and rarely visits the harem. Normally, I shouldn't know any of this. Then one day, Pei Zhaoyi's maid Yunliu came to see me in private. She said that His Majesty seems to be distracted and absent-minded. It was just that, during one performance of the rainbow skirt and feathered dress dance, His Majesty glanced a few more times at the poem. My lady wanted to learn this dance, so she had already asked for and received permission from the noble consort. The steward said,
The one who dances this best is not Lingwu from that day, but Miss Shen. So I was sent to invite Miss Shen to the palace.
To say this, though called an invitation, it was forceful, leaving no choice. Besides, my status is far beneath that of the consort, so I simply had no way to refuse. Next day, entering the palace with Yunliu, the rain had stopped. Beyond red walls, the sky was blue and willows green. I donned my veil. Consort Pei, pleased by my behavior, said, "The Emperor has seen many beauties. No need to be so cautious." Her voice trailed off with a hint of melancholy. If the Emperor were truly lustful, then we wouldn't have to be so troubled. In my past life, the Empress Dowager grew curious. When Ji Wangxi insisted I be noble consort, she angrily summoned beauties to question him.
With so many beauties in the world, why did he insist on favoring a dancer?
Ji Wangxi didn't even spare them a glance.
Only her son was certain at first sight that he would never change his mind in this lifetime.
Back then, no one believed it. Years of shared history couldn't match the spark of love at first sight. Snapping back, I bowed and gave a polite reply. Consort Pei smiled silently and began her dance lessons. Despite me teaching, her status meant she was in charge. I'd dance as long as she liked, staying until she'd had enough. Within 2 hours, I could leave the palace, often bumping into others on the familiar paths. The noble carriage passed, the Emperor and consort sharing a sedan, with maids fanning them. The Emperor, in his dragon robe, sat atop. He smiled, leaning to hear the consort speak. He glanced at me. I quickly looked away, kneeling before Yunliu did. As they approached, the consort stopped talking, perhaps to keep their conversation private. One casual gaze fell upon me. Xin Wangxi tapped the armrest and asked indifferently,
Who is that? Judging by their attire, they don't look like a commoner.
He paused for a moment, as if waiting for me to look up and respond on my own. I kept my lips tightly shut, my palms sweating, not moving at all. Yunliu replied respectfully,
She is a dancer who came to teach Imperial concubine Pei how to dance, and is now preparing to leave the palace.
The county prince casually agreed, not taking it too seriously once he looked away. A month passed, and Consort Pei had learned the dance exceptionally well. Good news kept coming from the northwest, and the emperor was particularly pleased, finally having time to visit the concubines who had been neglected for so long. The imperial concubine appeared very magnanimous, advising her to treat everyone equally. So, according to the ancestral tablets, Consort Pei was the fourth. When the county prince arrived, it was evening, and Consort Pei insisted on keeping me there to help her check her movements and expressions, ensuring everything was perfect. I also picked out her clothes and headdress. I know exactly what Ji Wangxi likes. The sun was about to set. He danced under the peach trees in the imperial garden, his flowing skirt catching the last rays of the setting sun. His dance was so beautiful, it seemed otherworldly. This entire scene was captured by Ji Wangxi's eyes. I quietly slipped out with Yunliu. Not long after, Consort Pei called me into the room. I was alone. The light was dim, and my figure was blurry. He seemed very happy, chatting with the emperor with a soft tone, half coquettish and half admiring. The dance I was dancing was taught to me by him. Now that someone had arrived, how should the emperor reward me? The emperor leaned lazily against his chair, his left hand supporting his chin, his right hand holding a wine cup. He turned to look at me.
First, raise your head.
I stiffened, slowly lifting my head to meet the emperor's gaze. He froze as if pricked, staring silently into my eyes for a long time. I looked down, touching my ear. The veil was still secure. After a while, he finally spoke, his voice sounding hoarse.
Since he doesn't suit your taste, why not take off your veil and stay here to serve you?
It was the emperor's first time asking someone to stay. Even a fool like Consort Pei understood now. She bit her lip, reluctantly silent as tension rose. Seeing her pale face, the emperor relented first.
Give her 100 gold tiles and dismiss her.
My heart was pounding as I thanked him and left. The next day, Yunliu came to deliver a message. I no longer needed to go to the palace. At the time, I was just about to practice martial arts. Others thought I had offended Consort Pei and were secretly laughing at me. I used to think that with a divine doctor and good luck, I would always come across good opportunities. But now it seems that even when good things are handed to me, I can still mess them up completely. Yunliu had already walked away, but then she turned back and said to me very seriously, "The Empress said Miss Shen is quite good, meticulous and cautious in her work. However, the Empress has learned everything and doesn't need Miss Shen for the time being. Her pronunciation is very clear, and her volume is loud enough for everyone to hear." I was deeply moved. This is the first time I've wanted to cry in all these days of living. Thank you.
Yunliu.
After leaving the palace, I practice martial arts daily. In my past life, I was a hot-tempered dancer who offended many. 10 years in the palace mellowed me to please the emperor. Now, I ignore those who mock me and help those seeking advice. People say I've changed. They enjoy my company and no longer mistreat me. The general won and returns soon. The academy is rehearsing, breaking the camp. Before the banquet, I got a letter from my brother, Shen Zhaohe. After 8 years in the army, he's now a deputy general. He has always had a knot in his heart. Years ago, his young sister was forced into the music academy as a sword dancer. Now returning a decorated hero, he only asks the emperor to free his sister. Upon returning to the capital, he met the emperor, who agreed, pending the celebration banquet. That night, I clutched the Imperial Edict, overjoyed. But on performance night, I was too nervous to dance and gave up my lead role. Since everyone wore masks for this dance, I found a way. Everyone raised their glasses to toast each other, listening to the music and watching the dance. After this dance ended, the Emperor suddenly spoke and asked for 2 people to stay behind. One was the lead dancer. The other was General Shen's younger sister, who had been separated from him for many years. My brother knelt before the Emperor, pulled me behind him, and spoke from the heart. The Emperor straightforwardly gave an oral decree, allowing me to remove it. My brother Jianji's loud voice drowned out my thanks. The Emperor rested his chin on his hand, looking at someone else. After settling things, I moved into the residence my brother prepared, where he asked about my plans.
Do you have someone you like?
No, I don't.
Then is there something you want to do?
Does wanting to be a capable and diligent person count? My brother glanced at me and patted the back of my head.
I heard people say that back in the day.
At the Jiaofeng, you always danced so gracefully. With such a big audience, everyone was watching you. That already shows how clever and remarkable you are.
My throat tightened, and I couldn't even speak. I just stared at him in a daze.
Little sister, if you really want to find something to do, I'll swallow my pride and pull some strings to get you a position working at Princess Changle's residence.
Princess Changle is my kind of formidable. Meanwhile, Xi Wangxi's reputation is stained. During the palace rebellion, she nearly lost, but my eldest sister broke the siege, helping her ascend. Beloved by the people for her good deeds, she stayed silent when I died in my past life, while my brother sobbed.
No matter how bad things get for the country, how could she let a woman take the blame for her?
I wiped away the tears that had just welled up at the corners of my eyes and said, "All right, then I'll trouble you to sacrifice your looks a bit." Before I could meet the princess, a single order from the imperial concubine summoned me into the palace. Now my identity has been completely reversed. I knelt, while Yu Suiwan sat. She didn't make me kneel for long. She personally came down, helped me up, and carefully examined my face. "You truly are a rare beauty," she said with a smile. "No wonder His Majesty keeps thinking about you." I could only kneel back down to the floor and say, "This young woman is afraid." She casually asked me a few questions. In this life, my temperament has changed greatly. I'm now low-key and easygoing. She didn't mention my background and spoke with exceptional gentleness, always considering Xie Wangxi's interests. "You really are a good girl. Would you like to enter the palace to serve His Majesty?" Logically speaking, with such a clever and open-minded leader of the harem, plus the Emperor's favor and partiality, there was really no reason to refuse. Without even thinking, I shook my head. This young woman does not wish to go. Behind the screen, a vase fell over. Xi Wangxi came around, his face expressionless. He dismissed his subordinates and stared at me, his tone mild and seemingly patient.
Why don't you want to have someone you like anymore?
I didn't want to make things up, so I lowered my head, my voice hoarse. It's not that I don't want to love purely, I just don't want to take the initiative anymore. Xie Wangxi didn't say a word. He always used to smile at me, so much so that sometimes I forgot the person in front of me was a real emperor capable of killing. There was nothing he couldn't get his hands on. He gradually leaned closer. Under the glaring light, his shadow was like a thick cloud enveloping me. His long eyelashes drooped, making it hard to read his expression, but although his voice was gentle, it carried an undeniable force that left no room for refusal.
This isn't up to you, Yi.
It's raining again outside. It feels like summer is almost here. The rain beats against the banana leaves, pattering noisily, keeping me awake all night. In my daze, I can't even tell if this is my past life or this one. There's someone kneeling at the foot of the steps again. Awake, I can't help but sigh. It's really difficult for noble consort Yu as well. Now there are 2 noble consorts in the palace. I could only rely on my excitement as I pushed open the window to look. She was arguing with Xi Wangxi.
Shen Yihe is unwilling. His Majesty shouldn't torment people like this. She forcibly took the commoner's daughters. It's all recorded in the history books, which is bad for His Majesty's reputation.
She never said a single bad word about me. In fact, if you think about it, she really is a good person, just that she used to have that aloof attitude of a wealthy young lady. At this moment, Xi Wangxi simply couldn't listen to any of it.
It's rare for me to take an interest in anyone, so how could I let myself indulge so easily?
I picked it up. I took an umbrella and walked outside. It was for Yu Zuiwan. The water on her face should have been rain, because she rarely cries. I just handed her a dry handkerchief, Your Highness. I tilted the umbrella slightly to shield her from the drifting raindrops. Please don't say these things for my sake anymore. The ground is very cold. She clutched the handkerchief in both hands, buried her face in them, her shoulders trembling, and her voice was barely audible.
I'm sorry. I originally thought I could be a good consort and help His Majesty, but now it seems I can't do anything. Instead, I've dragged you into this mess.
I handed the umbrella to her maid and reached out to help her up. She simply didn't understand that many years later, His Majesty would miss her cleverness and need her ideas. It's just a pity that she never knew how to cherish the people in front of her. Saying this out loud could easily provoke the Emperor's anger. Before he punished Yu Suiwan, I stood under the eaves and smiled at him. Your Majesty, the rain outside is too heavy. Please come inside. I leaned against the window, watching Yu Suiwan walk away. The Emperor's voice revealed no hint of emotion.
You really do know how to think on his behalf.
All I can say is, he thinks for His Majesty, and I think for him, which is essentially thinking for His Majesty as well. The Emperor hugged me from behind and let out a soft laugh.
So, have you given in now?
I responded very softly. Your Majesty, I want to see someone. That person is Princess Changle, the Emperor's most respected elder sister. She let go of my arm, her tone turning cold.
Even if my elder sister comes to plead for you, I absolutely won't change my mind.
But in reality, there was no need to wait. Tomorrow, the princess will know about this matter. She finally agreed. Inside the room were Princess Changle and Zi Changning. She sat facing me, the surroundings quiet. She stared at me, her face full of guilt, and sighed.
For your troublesome matter, young Master Shen already pleaded with me, but I truly have no way out.
Young Master Shen, I was a bit confused, then immediately shook my head.
I'm not here for that matter.
At least the Emperor still has feelings for me, and treats me quite well. My troubles are nothing. I immediately sat up straight, spoke softly, and enunciated each word slowly and clearly.
Cao Cao once dreamed of 3 horses eating grass together. Later, the Sima father and son usurped the throne. Before Confucius died, he dreamed of sitting between 2 pillars, and 7 days later, he passed away. A few days ago, I also had a dream.
The princess arched an eyebrow. Outside, rain lashed the window.
It would keep raining for a long time, all the way until the Yellow River burst its banks. His Majesty felt that gambling was not as good as losing, so he dug open the earth, causing floods to rush everywhere. This drove more people to flee ruin.
Her expression turned serious. I have seen the eldest princess plead for the people before, so I know she loves the commoners. I remember clearly, perhaps from a past life. Back then, the Emperor and I were inseparable. During the disaster, ministers suggested either gambling to recruit breach blockers or digging directly. His Majesty chose only the latter. Afterwards, everyone said that he was so obsessed with women that he neglected important affairs. All the blame was placed on me. Before the Princess Royal left, she remembered all of this. She said, I really don't understand why some people say that you didn't understand anything many years ago. Back then, I truly didn't understand anything. Up to today, I've taken many detours, endured much ridicule, and suffered a lot. Yu Suiwan was confined, and her palace seal was handed to me. Rumors spread that I was devious, having used others to charm His Majesty, and now surpassing even noble consort Yu. Every day the concubines come to greet me, but Pei Zhaoyi, who used to be so familiar with me, doesn't even give me the slightest pleasant look. Seated, I watched her, recalling when she'd been lazy, refused to dance, and acted spoiled, ignoring our status. She muttered,
Wait for His Majesty tonight.
She didn't want to dance under the scorching sun, afraid of getting tanned, and only hoped I would keep her here, so she wouldn't be upset. But when she was being mocked, Yunliu said, Her ladyship once said that Miss Shen is quite good. I've also met Consort Xian. She's a reserved and talented woman. She used to come looking for Imperial concubine Pei to chat, and once, when she ran into me, she showed me a poem she had written. It was set to ancient musical notation, and her eyes curved into a smile as she asked, Can you sing it? I smiled awkwardly and replied, No, but I can choreograph a dance to bring the lyrics to life. Consort Shu was most skilled at playing the pipa. That was her specialty. Even in her noble status, she once spoke with a tone of pride. She told me to dance, the most beautiful dance in the world. It should be accompanied by the finest pipa, but now, all of that has been ruined by hope. I sit upright in the main seat, watching them whispering to each other. But I just couldn't help it. My tears fell instantly. I cried with deep sorrow. Consort Pei Zhaoyi was stunned at first. Your Majesty, what's wrong? I rushed down the steps, crouched beside her skirt, and buried my face in her lap.
It was already hard enough being forcibly brought into the palace, and now even you all are ignoring me.
For 10 years as a demon consort, none saw through me. Glancing at the mirror-like tiles, I knew my tears were irresistible. Everyone would rush to comfort me. We made up. After the heavy rains, Xi Changning finally returned to the capital. Along the way, the common people lined up in rows to welcome him. The flood threatened huge losses, but his personal leadership salvaged a great deal. Remote villagers knew of Princess Changle, but ignored Emperor Shi Wangji, leaving him displeased. When he spoke to me, he often sighed.
Now it seems like my royal sister's reputation is even higher than mine.
I leaned into his arms and spoke softly. The princess's reputation is the royal family's reputation and also the emperor's. After hearing this, she wasn't very happy and frowned slightly.
It wasn't because of that matter, but because of my attitude. You're always so insincere with me. As if you think you can just placate me with a few casual words.
In the past, I rejected the Emperor, Your Majesty. You were unhappy. Now I obey Your Majesty, but you are still not happy. What else can I do? Xi propped his elbow on the soft couch, leaning on it as he looked up at me. I was momentarily distracted. The candlelight reflected on his face, and his eyes shimmered with emotion. A bit dazed.
I've always thought you shouldn't be like this. Your temper.
In my previous life, I really didn't have those sharpest edges. All the most difficult pride was worn away by him. Then, Your Majesty, what kind of person do you think I should be? Xi took my hand, pressed his face to my palm, and whispered.
You have an incomparably proud and upright face.
I chuckled. He was right. When not bullied, I really was like that. Xi Changning's been busy. The powerful princess has long meddled in state affairs, even drawing formal complaints to the throne. He was accused of courting ministers, but I tossed the report once it reached the emperor. Xie Wangji cautiously discussed state affairs with Yu Suiwan, but as an illiterate commoner, I just use his reports to level table legs. All he ever says is,
Just remember to put it back.
When I asked for military power for my brother, he sometimes agreed, saying,
Oh, you really have the makings of a wicked consort now.
Whether it was in my previous life or now, at the beginning when the world was at peace, she truly cared for me endlessly. Sometimes Yi Changning would come to ask about my foresight. She would chat with me, play a game of chess, and I would tell her everything. In the 10th year, there would be a blizzard, and the common people wouldn't be able to survive. Rebellions would break out everywhere, the emperor would admit his mistakes, she would frown slightly, and later I became a wicked consort and was assassinated. The poisoned wine was given by the empress, but I finally saw through it all. This was definitely done with Xi Wangji's approval. She wanted to shift the blame onto me, use my life to appease the people, and implicate my family. My whole family was in the capital. For the sake of her own family, the empress would never dare lay a hand on me. At least not until right before my death. Xie Wangji never told me the truth. She insisted on making the empress out to be the villain. I was silent for a moment, then looked up and met Xi Changning's eyes, speaking with particular seriousness, almost word by word, as I continued. Princess, in order to save the people from misery, you led troops in rebellion and became the empress yourself. This was the only lie I ever told her, something she could actually achieve. If she had been a man, she would have won on the day of the coup, but she never even considered it. If I told him about this, just like before, just like those disasters that happened several times before, it would inevitably happen again in the future, as if it were destined by heaven. Xi Changning suddenly stood up and his sleeve accidentally knocked over the chess pieces on the table. He pressed his palm against the table, leaning his body forward, taking several deep breaths, just like the previous times. You told me that during the great disasters to come, a few corrupt officials who neglect their duties would emerge. So I dealt with those people in advance. That way, I replied, everything depends on human effort. Destiny can't be changed, but when it comes to people, we can take action ahead of time. I completely played the role of a bad woman, colluding with Xi Changning inside and out, secretly tricking the emperor several times. I've never been superstitious, but it seems the emperor really has incurred heaven's wrath. This year, there have already been 2 major disasters, and the people's resentment is sky high. On top of that, he caused another scandal. Seizing commoner women proved the emperor's immorality. My brother, claiming a just cause, joined Xi Changning's rebellion. Cornered, the emperor still hesitated to believe that I also played a significant role in this matter. On top of the Red Palace walls stood guards obeying Xi Changning's orders. They held bows and arrows, aiming at the emperor below the palace wall. He stared at me, his eyes red and filled with disbelief. How could it possibly be you? You can't even read a single character. Xi Changning turned to look at me, seeming surprised, then let out a laugh. Brother, you're really clueless. He doesn't just know how to read. I stared at Xi Wangji. In truth, I hadn't hidden it well. As long as someone can read, they can always pick up on some small details. You've never thought much of me when I slip up. Just like back then, when my children were about to start their studies. I had already finished reading the 4 books and 5 classics, but Xi Wangji said,
You don't need to read them. They're useless to you.
Xi Wangji's lips moved slightly. It was as if he had a stomach full of words, but to avoid any more accidents, I didn't wait for him to speak. Xi Changning then gave the order to fire arrows, and a volley of arrows rained down. Xie Wangji opened his mouth, but only coughed up a mouthful of blood. His voice was muffled and indistinct, as if he wanted to say something. I remember hearing that when people are on the verge of death, they always recall many things from the past. His gaze gradually became vacant, and scenes from the past flashed before his eyes. It was a spring night, and a captivating dancer was performing half of a mud dance in front of me. Her clothes fluttered like a dancing fairy. Then he fell toward Wang Xi. Later, we asked him,
Were you injured just now?
Dancing with an injury?
He forced himself up gently.
Yes.
His eyes were still filled with tears.
Someone tried to hurt me, but I just didn't want to let her succeed.
She really was very special, lively, spirited, and completely unlike those around her. Rigid, rule-abiding daughters of noble families, she was nothing like them. So when she tried to say she didn't want to share her husband with other women, Shi Wangji agreed, but it wasn't long before she realized that Shen Yihei was a woman with no knowledge or substance, barely literate. She was indeed quite disappointed, and the other party noticed it too. When she expressed her willingness to learn, Xie Wangji just found it ridiculous. Listening to her stammer through those texts, Xie Wangji felt embarrassed for her. This was the woman she had chosen, clumsy, lacking a sense of propriety, and arrogant. So much so that later, when his temperament changed, Xie Wangji didn't pay attention, let alone notice it. He wondered if life would differ if Yu Suiwan were still by his side. She was smart and insightful, happy to support him at home. But it was all wishful thinking. Xie Wangji wanted to explain himself while struggling alone. Exhausted, he listened to the ministers and conferred the title of Duke Zheng. Amidst court chaos, he rashly indulged the Duke, later regretting it and weeping for days. He sent him to the royal mausoleum, hoping for a reunion after death. Those foolish battles were fought in a previous life. In this life, he has never let anyone down. Does she also have to end up like this? With the new king, I quit looking ahead. I stopped helping in dreams, only supporting Yu Sui. Xie Changning is acting prime minister with the noble consort title. I'm not as smart as him, so Xie Changning assigned me to the Ministry of Rights Managed Music. I hardly showed up that year.